Welcome to the 15th season of the NitWits, a weekly roundtable discussion on the Penn State Nittany Lions. Our panel includes Neil Riddell of the Altoona Mirror, Mark Brennan of FightOnState.com, Casey Kantz of WTAJ Sports, and a special guest analyst each week. The NitWits are brought to you by Irwin Financial Raymond James, a firm foundation for your financial future. Coldwell Banker, no one will work harder to sell your home. By Doctors Howells and Reed, orthodontics for children and adults. By the bookstore in the Park Hills Plaza, featuring the area's most complete selection of books, DVDs, magazines, and collectibles. By Fiore True Value on 6th Avenue, Altoona. Just ask rental. By Pacifico's Bakery, genuine Italian bread and rolls for your tailgating needs. By the Altoona Professional Hearing Aid Center, your hearing aid healthcare professional. By Monarch Cleaners, for all your cleaning needs. Your rehab choice, Health South Altoona. Ask for us by name. By J&P Auto, home of the $1,000 push, pull, or tow. By Courtesy Motors of Altoona, where courtesy means a great deal. By the Allegro, where fine cuisine is a way of life. By McGloin Furniture, the friendly store with quality furniture at a reasonable price. By Scotch Valley Country Club, the area's premier golf destination. By EasyToUse.com, your Yellow Pages connection in print and online. By FightOnState.com, as close as you get to Penn State football without putting on a helmet. And by the Altoona Mirror, featuring Penn State game day every Friday. You can also see the NitWits on AltoonaMirror.com.
All righty, welcome to another edition of the NitWits. The panel all back safe and sound from Iowa City. And this week we welcome in once again our good friend, former Penn State wide receiver Joe Nastasi. Welcome back, Joe.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I think we're all excited to break this one down. This was quite an exciting game to watch right from the get-go. The Penn State offense was clicking. They pick up the 38-14 win at Kinnick Stadium, first time since 1999. I think we're all talking offense is what impressed us the most probably on Saturday night.
Yeah, I don't know how many times we've seen Penn State play Iowa where Iowa completely dictated the tempo. Even in the couple of games Penn State's won in the last decade or so, Kirk Ferentz seemed to dictate tempo, and that was turned completely on its head. Offensively, Penn State came out with its NASCAR in its second series, and that's the hurry-up offense, and just Iowa had no answers. And then defensively, the defense was so fresh the whole game that they just brought it all game. And wow, I mean, that was, you know, we've seen Iowa outcoach Penn State along the way a few times. That was definitely Penn State outcoaching Iowa big time.
Especially a game we all expected to be close. Two great defenses, and last week we're all picking it to be close. Very surprising.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I saw exactly what you're saying. They controlled the game from start to finish. You watched the way McGloin played, complete control. We handled the ball. We took care of the ball except for the one play on the goal line. Defensively, again, it just looked like Iowa was just outmanned, outcoached, and they just didn't do well. I mean, they didn't do well. When they had the ball, they looked concerned. The quarterback was rattled. We put some pressure on them with our front four. And then the blitzes, we threw a couple in there they couldn't pick up. And I just like the way we played aggressively. We played a lot of man-to-man across the board. And, that shows that pro-style defense that they're playing. They're coming up and they're locking guys up. I like it.
You know what jumps out to me is the aggressiveness. Usually, and this just wasn't the old Penn State. This was a lot in college football. You get a 1 or 2 touchdown lead in the second half. You're playing a field possession game, punting. Bill O'Brien is keeping the pedal to the metal. It comes out at the beginning of the second half. They get the kickoff return. They immediately go up top with a 42-yard bomb.
Yeah.
Just so impressive. And these Big Ten, the rest of the Big Ten has not caught up yet.
Yeah, one of the exciting things, even makes it more exciting, is that they did not play a perfect game. I mean, Joe mentioned the fumble. They allowed the long kickoff return. And I'm not saying you should expect a perfect game, but we still have not seen the best out of this team. I will tell you this, they made Iowa look so bad. The worst thing I had ever seen in Iowa before was Neil doing karaoke at the team hotel about 6 years ago. The Iowa defense, the Iowa defense was even worse than Neil doing Peaceful, Easy Feeling by the Eagles.
Is that true, Neil? Response?
Hey, I wanted to try it once in my life. They went out there for years. They stayed, Joe, you remember that Holiday Inn out wherever? I said, if I'm going to ever try this, this is the place.
And it was out there.
I have one witness. So
I kept that in my back pocket for all these years, waiting for a bad performance by Iowa out there.
Let's break down Matt McGloin's performance a little bit more. You're just seeing so many good things from him right now. Big Ten leader in passing, completions, second in touchdown passes. Had 2 more on Saturday night. He's got 14 now in the year, but he's buying time. His passes are precise, and with this NASCAR no huddle thing they have going on, I mean, he is the reason right now that offense is clicking the way it is.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at, first of all, his confidence back there. I don't think any of us ever were concerned about him, the lack of confidence. But, like, that throw right there early in the game, moving around a little bit in the pocket. I mean, he even made some guys miss in space. I mean, it wasn't the most graceful slides, but, again, he got it done. And it's important, especially – when you're watching this, and what a recruiting tool. I mean, I know I'm taking it one step farther, but when you watch this, there's other kids watching this ball game out here too, and they're saying, these guys are handled. That's why this week's such a big game. These kids are all watching. They want to see this guy's doing it. I want to step in there and do it. We're controlling the game. And Bill O'Brien's doing an outstanding job, top to bottom.
5 200-yard games in a row, and he had a couple balls that were very catchable deep. That they didn't quite come up with. It just, the way he's letting the game come to him as opposed to how he performed in the past is just so impressive. When we saw video of his touchdown pass to Jesse James, that might have been his best pass of the year.
And go ahead.
Well, Joe made a good point. He's never been lacking for confidence. I think the issue has been harnessing that confidence and using it in the right way. The thing he's not doing, for all the good passes he's not making the terrible mistakes that he made in the past. He's not throwing all of those interceptions. And I think, to me, that's the biggest thing. He's out there calm, cool. We saw the highlight, defenders right in his face, and he's just kind of sliding away, dinking and dunking when he has to, going a little deeper when he has to.
Well, they named him the starter in May. That had to help, too. He's not, I mean, it's surprising he didn't have a twitch. For 2 years, he's looking over his shoulder.
And going up top. I mean, we said that earlier, but going up top, he wasn't afraid to let it go downfield, which was exciting. I mean, you have to do that, though, and I was glad to see him let a couple go. It's as good as a punt sometimes, right? If they pick it off. So
gutsy call on that 4th down, gutsy pass, great catch by Kyle Carter.
Yeah.
He's another one. I mean, we seem to talk every week about some of these stars emerging, and just a fantastic afternoon or evening, I should say, for Kyle Carter.
11 catches for the tight end.
Yeah, how about that? That's great stuff. We got to step out and take our first break. When we come back, we'll keep talking about this offense a little bit more, give some kudos to the men up front. They blocked big time Saturday night, helped Billy Belton to a great evening. We'll talk about that next.
The NitWits are brought to you by Irwin Financial Raymond James, a firm foundation for your financial future. Coldwell Banker, no one will work harder to sell your home. By Doctors Howells and Reed, orthodontics for children and adults. By the bookstore in the Park Hills Plaza, featuring the area's most complete selection of books, DVDs, magazines, and collectibles. By Fiore True Value on 6th Avenue, Altoona. Just ask rental.
I'm Joe Hodges from Penn State Nittany Lions. You're watching the NitWits.
Thank you much, Gerald. Gerald and the Penn State Nittany Lions finally getting the monkey off the back on Saturday night. Big 38-14 winners over Iowa, 5th straight win, improving to 3-0 in Big Ten play as well. Talked a little bit about the offense in the first block. We're going to keep talking about the offense because they put up some big numbers on Saturday night. Billy Belton, 3 touchdowns, career high 103 yards in the ground, and that kind of was helped by the great blocking up front. We've talked about the offensive line a little bit, but let's give them some love this block and talk about the blocking from the offensive line of Penn State.
Well, Mac McWhorter, I think, deserves credit. They had 4 new starters plus a new starting tight end. No sacks. They kind of blew out the edges, I thought, really. And Belton benefited, I thought, so much from the bye week. Look, the best he has all year.
Yeah, he did.
We've talked about it all year about Craig Fitzgerald, the new strength coach, and the difference he's made. For them to run, 90 plays? They ran 100 plays against Northwestern. Right. They're also rotating in about 8 guys. The whole combination of that is just making everybody look better. And I think the real cool thing, you talk about how fresh Belton looked. But guess what? Now they've had Belton do a nice job. They've had Zwinak do a nice job. We've seen some great things from Zordich. Not maybe great, but some really good things. They have all these different pieces and parts that kind of do different things. And, Joe, I'm sure you could speak to how important it is to have that sort of versatility in the offense.
And they're figuring that all out now. You see all the good teams now have more than one running back, for sure. They do different things. They need to rest. You can't just rely on one horse all game long. I like the 3 guys. They all bring different things to the table. They, a couple power guys, a slasher. You need all that. And the only thing I'd say about Belton is, I love his style, but he just want to put that ball a little tighter to his chest when he's in traffic.
Well, same with Zwinak now, too.
Well, he looked like the sure hands guy there, but I see Belton. He's really slashy, but I want to see him hold that ball a little tighter to his chest. But he did a great job. Again, with those sprint draws they run, it's really nice to see him because he can hit that seam. And I think we were missing that earlier in the year, and we talked about it. We were just that close to, we're this close to being undefeated right now. It's the same thing. We're that close to just getting to the block part of that front side play, and then this week we did, and big difference.
You really seem to find those holes pretty well on Saturday
Absolutely.
night.
Robinson's had a great year. The one guy that I think has contributed nicely and getting better is Mosby Felder.
Yeah.
He's good for 3-4 catches a game. He's starting to become a deep threat, and I've been impressed with him.
Well, and how about, not just Kyle Carter, but you have Jesse James, you have Matt Lehman, you have Gilliam, who's not done quite as much as I thought, but they haven't really needed that much. They are getting so much out of that tight end position. When you see Kyle Carter lining up at fullback in front of Zordich, it's just fun, the different things that they're able to do with that position.
The one thing I did not understand Saturday when we're talking about offense.
I know where this is going.
I didn't understand why McGloin was still in there in the last 3 series and why you haven't gotten bench a little bit more work. He looked like he could function at Virginia when you needed him, and you may need him next year. He may be your starter. Yeah. And even more than that, I thought Iowa was frustrated. They were taking some shots at McGloin, and fortunately, he stayed healthy.
I think the answer was in Bill O'Brien's answer to the question about that. He said that was Matt McGloin's game. He's looking at this as an NFL coach, and I'm not saying that's necessarily right. Again, Neil makes a very good point that you may need bench at any single moment, and it's one thing to have Tom Brady in the NFL and have a very quality backup who's played a lot of college ball. Right. Bench has not played a lot, and I think you'll see O'Brien. I think he's going to have to adjust this to get that kid some more snaps if they're blowing somebody out.
All right, guys, got to step out for another break. When we come back, we'll talk about the defense a bit. Frustrated, James Vandenberg, all night long. It was fun to watch. Right now, you're watching the NitWits, and we're back after this.
The NitWits are brought to you by Pacifico's Bakery, genuine Italian bread and rolls for your tailgating needs. By the Altoona Professional Hearing Aid Center, your hearing aid healthcare professional. By Monarch Cleaners, for all your cleaning needs. By your rehab choice, Health South Altoona. Ask for us by name. By J&P Auto, home of the $1,000 push, pull, or tow. By Courtesy Motors of Altoona, where courtesy means a great deal.
The NitWits, a weekly look at the Nittany Lions.
Welcome back. It's always nice when your offense is clicking the way Penn State's was on Saturday night. It takes a lot of pressure off the D. Of course, it's probably also nice when you see the other team's big threat, Mark Weissman, spending most of his time on the sideline. But James Vandenberg did not look good. Penn State forced a fumble and picked him off twice. And the defense continues, which is very impressive, to get big stops on third downs, too. And that's been huge for this defense.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at the stats at halftime, and Jordan Hill was already having a monster game. And that was odd because Iowa hadn't run that many plays. But that was a game we've seen different guys step up. And to me, this was kind of Jordan Hill and that defensive line establishing things early in the game. Obviously, you're going to get the good backer play every week. Mm-hmm. And, the secondary, again, some new faces. They make some mistakes. They do some good things. But that defensive line, I thought, was one of their better games that they've played.
And, Joe, when they got up big, there just wasn't anything, at least in my mind, that said with the way James Vandenberg was playing, and Weissman obviously was not even really in at all, that said that team could come back.
No, and you know, defensively, just like on the offense side of the ball, they didn't play conservative. They didn't sit back in a soft zone, get 5, 6, 7, first down, 5, 6, 7, first down. I saw a lot of bump and run. I mean, unless you have a really good secondary, normally in college football, you don't see a lot of bump and run across the board. They bumped the guys. We blitzed. We overload blitzed. I really like the scheme. I like what he's doing. It's a match. They're doing the same thing offensively and defensively. I think they're playing a lot of pressure defense, and they're getting it done. I mean, you know, it's risky at times, but at the same time, look what they did there. They dominated the game and handled the tempo on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, a couple of these guys have come in off the bench. Zettel has looked good almost every time he's played.
Yeah.
86.
Olanian.
Yeah. Both those guys got sacks, and Mike Hull has really had a great year.
He has.
For all the talk about Weissman and driving back to Cedar Rapids last night from Iowa City, I heard some belly aching from the Iowa fans. That's not Herschel Walker. I mean, let's get this straight. He's a good player, but he's not going to make a 30-point difference in that game. Penn State still wins that game whether that kid plays or not.
Yeah. Will Mike Motti get an easier interception than the one he had?
He's caught the ball when he's had the chance, though.
Yeah, he really has.
Yeah, the special teams, I think, I don't mean to put a wet blanket on this, but they still left some room for work.
That's fine.
You're ripping them over bench, the special teams. It's not even like they won the game in Neil's eyes.
Let's be a little critical.
I'm a nitwit.
Yeah, let's do that a little bit. Talk about the special teams a bit because
they got lit for a 92-yard kickoff return for starters, and they had another field goal block.
Yeah, they have to tighten all that stuff up. And unfortunately, I mean, I hate to say it, but you're this far along in the season. You had another really bad punt. Ficken makes a field goal, but then he flubs one, and I just think they have to take it as this is what you are now, and this is what's going to dictate the way you make decisions from here on out.
That's the thing, Joe. It's like Ficken makes one, you think maybe that's going to be the one that gets him over, and then he can't follow it up with two straight.
And that's when you're playing better teams like say in Ohio State. Yeah. Now you're talking about 3 parts of the game. It's not just offense and defense, defense, kicking game. There's no question about it. We see it every weekend. Someone wins and loses on kicks. We've already been burnt by it this year, okay? So when you get into these bigger games, tougher opponents, games are tighter, it's going to come down to a play on special. It always does. It always comes down to a big punt return, kick return, play on whatever it is. But so again, we got to tighten it up. Are we there? What can we do other than just refine? I don't know. I mean, we don't have this magic wand to say, okay, all of a sudden we're going to be good at it. You work at it, do what you got to do. But again, that's part of the game, and we need to be sharp at it to win big ball games.
Della Valle stepped up, I thought, had a nice kickoff return, 46-yarder. He also came up and made the catches on the punt returns. I thought he did a good job.
And boy, nice lead in there, Joe. Talking about Ohio State, because that's the challenge that awaits Penn State coming up this Saturday. Going to need a huge effort on both sides of the football. We'll break down that game coming up in just a bit.
The NitWits are brought to you by the Allegro, where fine cuisine is a way of life. By McGloin Furniture, the friendly store with quality furniture at a reasonable price. By Scotch Valley Country Club, the area's premier golf destination. By EasyToUse.com, your Yellow Pages connection in print and online. By FightOnState.com, as close as you get to Penn State football without putting on a helmet. And by the Altoona Mirror, featuring Penn State game day every Friday.
I'm Malcolm Willis from the Penn State Nittany Lions, and you're watching the NitWits.
Malcolm Willis, we thank you, partner. Penn State comes off a big win. They've got 5 straight now, but it's Ohio State coming to town. They needed overtime to take down Purdue on Saturday, 29-22, so they remain perfect on the year. I guess right now, I mean, Braxton Miller was the big story in that game. He got hurt. All indications are that he's okay. He really guides this Ohio State offense. Let's kind of go around the panel here and get a quick comment and thoughts on this game coming up.
I think this series has been special. Penn State doesn't have Pitt, hasn't had him for a long time, and I think this has become the circled game on their schedule, especially this year with no bowl game. I think it has a chance to have a real electric atmosphere at Beaver Stadium, and Penn State's done their part since the 0-2 start. Should be a great night.
Yeah, obviously, as we tape this, we're not sure exactly what Braxton Miller's status is, so we're going to have to see how that plays out as the week goes on. And I'll be surprised if we get anything definitive. I mean, the way Urban Meyer is, he's probably going to play it kind of close to the sweater vest. The other compelling story is that everybody thought that Urban Meyer would be a guy who would be the next guy at Penn State.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have to see if he stays at the house he allegedly bought in Belfont or in Boalsburg a couple years ago. But this is, as Neil said, this is the closest thing Penn State has to a great rivalry right now. And it is a good game, and I think it's going to be a packed house. There's going to be a ton of recruits there.
Yeah.
This is going to, they've kind of built up to this all year. This is their bowl game.
Mm-hmm. Joe?
Absolutely. I mean, again, this goes back in history over Ohio State, and they've had us out there, and we've had them here, and game in and game out. I mean, right across, neighbors in the States, and fight over the same recruit. So, again, this is a huge game. We've set ourselves up for it, like what you said. I mean, they're undefeated. I really hope that Miller is healthy for it because you want to beat them at full strength. You want to go out there and take it to them. And I don't see anything in our defense, offense side of the ball that doesn't say that we can't do that. And it's exciting. And every game, and I kept saying it to Neil, it's just every game is so exciting for us as alumni, as Penn State fans, whatever you want to call it. I mean, we're just having a great time with this season and, really proud of the way that we're putting that product out on the field. You guys are doing their job.
Got to make it quick. We're under a minute to go. Neil?
Well, there were two issues late in the game. One was bench not playing, and when Brennan and I were on the sidelines, and the biggest issue was Mark saying, hey, Casey picked it pretty close. Should he really be the nitwit of the week if you don't get it within like 20 points? And I said, hey, look, you can't change the rules as we go. So, if you look at the standings, you'll see Brennan has a half a ball. That's why.
That wasn't nearly as good as my karaoke comment. I owed you one.
30 seconds, guys. Need your picks. I think
you're first.
Penn State 38-35 winners. About 20 seconds.
I'm going to say a little more decisive. I don't think there's sometimes in sports where the opponent can't match the home team's intensity. I'm going to say Penn State 30, Ohio State 17.
I'll go Penn State 28-24. I think they're going to do a good job offensively and get it done defensively when they have to.
Quickly, Joe.
Ohio State 27, second field goal, Penn State 30.
Wow. Oh, baby.
Oh,
Good night, everybody.
All right, buddy. Fooled him.